Revenge films.
My name is Jonathan Smith. I'm a 24-year-old salaryman working full-time. I met my girlfriend Sarah at a company event and we hit it off straight away. We dated for about 1 year and we recently got married. Sarah's parents are both really great people and they're easy to get along with. I have a great relationship with them. Work was also steady and I had nothing to complain about. Or so I thought. But there was actually one problem. My wife had a best friend named Ashley who was quite the pain. Ashley was my wife's best friend and I had met her a number of times before we got married as well. And at that time, Sarah had said to me,
Ashley and I have been together ever since we were in preschool, all the way until we graduated from college. We were side by side for more than 15 years together.
She said that to me like she was bragging about their friendship, and I thought it was really sweet at the time. When I first met her, my first impression of Ashley was not that bad, other than the fact that she complained about her parents a lot. But I first started being bothered by my wife's best friend's words and actions around the time after we got married and we started living together in our own house. Ashley didn't have a job, nor was she trying to get one, and she also wasn't married. So every single time she would get into a fight with her parents, she started rolling into our house.
My stupid dad said that I need to get to work. We got into a huge fight.
Or she would always say things like,
That old hag told me that I need to hurry up and get married, and I got super pissed off and yelled at her.
It was always the same story, and she would barge into our house late at night out of nowhere. I have work early tomorrow morning, so I'm gonna head to bed first. I would try to say that and go to sleep, but then she would demand that I need to sit down and listen to her. And then even if I tried to still say no and go to bed, I would look over at my wife, and she would have a stern look on her face.
Don't you understand that Ashley is having a really hard time right now? So, Jonathan, you should listen to her concerns with me, and we need to help her come up with a solution.
And when my wife would say that to me, I felt like I had no choice but to stay. Even if I knew that it was going to affect my work the next day, I had to sit there and listen to Ashley go on her rant. However, Ashley wasn't actually having a hard time. I could only believe that she was coming over because she wanted to rant about her parents. To be honest, I couldn't believe that she would say things to her own parents like,
Just hurry up and die.
Or,
Just leave the inheritance and get lost.
She was the type of person to say things like that, so I didn't believe the stories that she told us. On top of that, this troublesome woman would say things like,
Everybody cheats. It's totally normal.
Or,
You should be seeing multiple guys at once and keep multiple guys around you. That's what a smart woman would do.
She was the type to say things like that, like it was actually normal. And the fact that my wife was accepting somebody like that as her best friend in the world made me start to question my own wife's personality. But then, one evening, late at night, in the living room of my house, I had reached my limit, and so I finally interrupted their conversation. Look, even if you may be the best friends in the world, don't you think it's wrong to barge into somebody else's house in the middle of the night and then just trash talk your parents and say horrible things about them? Not only that, but it's all the time that you do this. The moment that I said that, I could feel the air in the room completely freeze over. It wasn't just Ashley, but even my wife had a look on her face like I was saying something unbelievable.
Why are you speaking like you understand anything? What do you know about me and Sarah's friendship? Sarah isn't just somebody else. She's my best friend in the world.
And then my wife continued on and was yelling at me as well.
That's right. That's right. And Ashley is going out of her way to come and try and lean on my shoulder as her best friend. How can you say something so awful? I didn't know that you were such a cold-hearted person, Jonathan.
When my wife called me cold-hearted, to be honest, it was shocking. It hurt. But right now, I was in a situation where it was 2 against 1, and for a brief moment, I felt weak and started to think that maybe I was the one that was saying something wrong and that I wasn't understanding. No, there's no way that that's the case. It's ridiculous that a best friend would barge into a newlywed household like this all the time. But even still, because she was my wife's best friend, I didn't try to push it any further, and I left them alone for that day. But then, this time, they started to get excited talking about cheating and extramarital affairs. I really hope that my wife doesn't become affected by the influence of this insane woman. One day, when we finally had the day off together, I was watching the news about a celebrity affair, and without thinking too much about it, I spoke with my wife. Hey Sarah, what do you think about guys like this that cheat on their wives and have affairs?
I think they're the worst, the enemy of women everywhere.
Yeah, I agree. So what do you think about Ashley and how she keeps multiple married guys? That's basically the same thing as having an affair, isn't it?
Excuse me? What does that have to do with anything? Ashley is different. Ashley isn't working right now and she doesn't have a steady source of income, so she's physically and mentally weak right now. And that's why she has no choice but to keep multiple men to support her. She's only doing it because she has to.
I see.
And then when she was looking around for a guy that had financial strength, it just so happens that most of them were married men.
But still, don't you think that what she's doing is the same thing?
It's totally different. Why don't you understand, Jonathan? If you're doing it in the name of self-defense or to protect yourself, then even violence is accepted by the law.
It was a ridiculous justification. And to me, her fury didn't seem like it was coming out of a place of defending her best friend, but more so because I had hit the nail on the head. Wait a minute. Now that I think about it, is Sarah... Could she be having an affair? I decided to go straight to a detective agency and do some research, and I instantly found out that my wife was indeed having an affair. And then, immediately after that, I was called out to a cafe with both Ashley and Sarah.
Hey you, Jonathan, is it true you were trying to trash talk me behind my back?
When Ashley said that, I twisted my neck towards her. Talking trash? What are you talking about?
Don't try and act dumb. I heard that you were complaining about my relationships with men. Can't you see? Because you were talking trash about me, you made Sarah super mad and upset her.
When I looked over at my wife, she was holding a handkerchief to her dry eyes.
How awful. How can you talk about my best friend in the world, Ashley, like that?
Excuse me? We were just having a conversation and you're the one that said people who cheat are the worst, isn't that right? If you think that that was me talking trash about your best friend Ashley, then maybe it's because you yourself realize that she's the worst. All of the frustration that was bottled up inside of me exploded all over them. And for a moment the two of them looked shocked because they probably weren't expecting me to fight back. However, they immediately lost their tempers.
Excuse me? What the hell is your problem? Even though you've only known Sarah for just over 1 year, I've been by her side for more than 15 years now. And are you trying to pick a fight with me? Do you know what's gonna happen to you? Jonathan, this is awful. I hate you. I hate you, Jonathan. I want to be together with somebody who's also going to love my best friend because she's like the same person as me. You're not worthy of Sarah. You're not worthy of a girl as amazing as Sarah. So you better hurry up and get a divorce. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on.
Ashley said that like she was threatening me, but then Sarah joined in.
As long as you don't get down on your knees and apologize to Ashley, then I'm going to be leaving you.
And my wife jumped right on board. Is that so? Well then, all right, I understand. Let's get a divorce. I bluntly replied to her.
What? You're joking, right? Are you sure you're okay with us breaking up? You do know that means we're getting a divorce.
My wife started to panic, and Ashley froze on the spot like she was shocked by my reaction. And then I did exactly as I said, and I got a divorce from my wife. And with the evidence that I got from the detective agency's investigation in hand, I collected a settlement fee of $30,000 from my ex-wife for her extramarital affair. And of course, I collected the same from her boyfriend as well, right around the same time. For all of the affairs that Ashley had had with married men over the years, they were all discovered at once, and she was sued from multiple directions. I heard that the total came close to $100,000 that she had to pay. In the beginning, apparently the two best friends moved into an apartment together and became roommates, but that relationship didn't even last for 1 month. Ashley borrowed thousands of dollars from my ex-wife, but then one day in the middle of the night, she disappeared with that money. Of course, without paying 1 cent back to her best friend, that was my ex-wife. 1 month later, I got a knock on the door, and it was my ex-wife. She came to my house and got down on her knees to apologize.
Please, Jonathan, please spare me of this settlement fee. Right now, I'm in debt. I'm in debt of almost $60,000.
Wait a minute, but how is that possible? I only sued you for $30,000. Even if you were also sued by the wife of the man you were having the affair with, that's way too much, isn't it? And also, why did you come here today by yourself? What happened to your best friend that you're always side by side with? Aren't you always with Ashley? I nonchalantly threw all of those questions at her, knowing the answer, and my ex-wife sat there with her face bright red.
That piece of crap witch, she borrowed thousands of dollars from me, but not only that, I was fronting the rent and all of the expenses for our apartment, but she didn't pay for anything and she disappeared. She took the money and she ran away.
Hearing my ex-wife angrily talk about Ashley like this did make me feel a little bit better. No matter what happened, she was always using the reason that Ashley was her best friend to defend her, and it had been irritating me for all that time.
Jonathan, please forgive me. I only had the affair because I was brainwashed by that woman. I never had any intention of actually cheating on you, so please, will you please marry me again?
No thanks.
Look, there's nobody else that I can rely on besides you, Jonathan. And that horrible woman, I can't even get a hold of her. I have no idea where she is.
Well, isn't that good for you? You were finally freed of the delusion of your best friend, because no matter how you looked at her, she was horrible. And then I kicked my ex-wife out of my house. Even after that, I heard the two people who were always claiming to be the best of friends have been living separate lives. As for my ex-wife, in order to pay back her debt, she moved into a run-down apartment and is having to work multiple jobs. And with Ashley, because she's living a life on the run after borrowing thousands of dollars from her best friend Sarah and then sacking her, I can only imagine that she is living a miserable life in terror with hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.